Most people think of the Caribbean as the playground for the rich. Luxury resorts, cocktails on the beach, glamorous yachts, and it is, but if you dive under the surface, you'll find there's a lot more going on. The Caribbean Sea is part of the huge gulf that divides the North and South American continents. A ragged string of over 50 islands, known as the Greater and Lesser Antilles, runs from Cuba, just south of Florida, round to Trinidad, just off the Venezuelan coast. In this program, Ian Wright works up an appetite.
When do I get breakfast?
Well, what you should have eaten before you came out.
Oh, I got up at 4:30 though. What time's lunch?
Megan McCormick demonstrates her talents as a muleteer.
Come on! Manchita! Yeah! Yeah!
And I, Justine Shapiro, come face to face with live prehistory.
This is the most incredible experience, being face to face with a dinosaur.
There are dozens of tiny tropical paradises across the Caribbean, but the largest islands have the strongest character. Close to the South American mainland is Trinidad and its capital, Port of Spain. It's a large island supported as much by oil and agriculture as tourism. Trinidad is a loud and lively English-speaking party island famous for Carnival and Calypso. Jamaica is the third largest island in the Caribbean. Its capital is Kingston, and it's less than 2 hours by plane from Miami. This lively English-speaking island combines mountainous jungles and beach resorts with a reputation for violence and drugs. Although it's a U.S. territory, Puerto Rico and its capital, San Juan, have retained the flavor of its Hispanic past. The capital, San Juan, was built as a fortress, and the sandstone walls are still there today. The Spanish came for gold, but instead made their fortune cultivating the rich soil. Guadeloupe is the largest of the French Antilles and is more like two distinctly different islands, each with its own city. Its largest city is Pointe-à-Pitre, and it has a distinctly French feel, from the architecture to the delicious food. The local language is Creole, a French-African hybrid. Cuba is the largest island with the largest capital in the Caribbean, with a colorful recent history. Havana reflects its faded Hispanic glory days, but the cachet given to Cuba by its ongoing defiance of the USA has begun to attract more and more travelers. Cuba's neighbor is the huge island of Hispaniola, which is split into the Dominican Republic and Haiti, with their capitals Santo Domingo and Port-au-Prince. Haiti is cripplingly poor, having suffered despotic leadership since its independence from France over 200 years ago. It's a tough but remarkable place to visit. The other half of Hispaniola is the Spanish and Creole-speaking Dominican Republic. Safer and so more popular as a cheap tourist resort than Haiti, it is a huge producer of bananas and sugar, with great forested mountains and terrific trekking. As one of Columbus's most important garrisons, it's a good place to look at the history that shaped the character of the islands of the Caribbean. Megan McCormick visited the capital, Santo Domingo.
There's a dark history to this country that few wish to remember. Before the Spanish arrived to set up the colonial headquarters of the New World, the original inhabitants of this island were a race of friendly Taino Indians. But today, no trace of their existence remains. I am underneath the city of Santo Domingo. Now, when Christopher Columbus arrived here in 1492, he put the 3 million native Indians to work building him this city. However, within 50 years, they were virtually wiped out. They died from exhaustion, starvation, and disease brought by the Spanish. To complete the city and these secret underground tunnels to hide their treasure, the Taino were replaced by new slaves brought in from Africa. By 1785, 40% of the population were African slaves working in the sugar mills. They were chained up and worked 16 hours a day. Their average life expectancy as slaves was a mere 6 years. 500 years later, the hidden secret of this sacred ground has come back to haunt them. On the anniversary of Christopher Columbus's discovery of the New World, thousands of bodies of slaves, still in their iron shackles, were found in the grounds of this monastery looming over the city.
Indeed, there is a dark history looming over the entire Caribbean. The fertile land promised fantastic wealth from sugar production, but the plantations needed cheap labor. Having almost wiped out the native Carib and Arawak Indians, the colonists then brought in millions of African slaves to run them. Ian Wright visited a plantation in Jamaica to learn more about the life of the slaves.
Many Jamaicans are descended from slaves. They worked on plantations like Barnet Estates, which is still run by the Jarrett family.
Sugarcane was Jamaica. It was the West Indies. It was also the major economic source for England. Sugar was gold. During the 18th century, the workers would get up at 4 o'clock. They'd cook some breakfast and be out in the field by sunrise and cut till the end of the day, and then they'd go back to the barracks, go to bed, and the routine started again. Just cut the cane and be done with it now.
Yeah. When do I get breakfast?
Well, what you should have eaten before you came out.
Oh, I got up at 4:30 though.
Yeah. For the only meal that's served out here is lunch.
Is it?
Yeah.
What time's lunch?
Although there were some plantation owners that treated their slaves well, it was still with this, oh, you are less a person than I am, you're like animals and we are people. Although we know our roots are from Africa, but we are Jamaicans.
I've worked long in the field. I've handled plenty of hoe.
Few slaves survived the plantations for long, but some escaped. When they were overrun by the British, the Spanish settlers in Jamaica let their slaves escape into the hills. Named Maroons from the Spanish, meaning wild or savage, their descendants remain proudly independent to this day.
Our people refused to be slaves, and it took them over 80 years of war with the British to demonstrate that desire, not only desire, that will, that pledge, never to be slaves.
Through the 19th century, the colonial powers abolished slavery, turning instead to cheap labor from across their empires. Trinidad, in particular, attracted thousands of people seeking escape from unemployment in India, adding to the island's cultural mix. The massive wealth brought by the plantations, combined with freedom from moral scrutiny, turned some parts of the Caribbean into a decadent playground for the ruling elite. Throughout the first half of the 20th century, while most Cubans lived in poverty, thousands of wealthy Americans poured over from Florida in search of booze, drugs, gambling, and easy sex.
Right up until the 1950s, Cuba was a playground for the Western world. While the rest of the country was poor, places like this attracted gangsters, gamblers, and girls. Well, stop all that. The people of Cuba finally said enough is enough. And in 1959, after years of struggling, Fidel Castro finally seized power. Capitalism got kicked out and communism kicked in.
During the revolution, there are a number of key battles fought by Castro against the forces of the existing military government. But eventually, the two sides met in Santa Clara.
The most important battle to secure victory for the revolution was fought here in Santa Clara. It was led by Che Guevara, and he actually drove this bulldozer into those trains that were full of arms for the government soldiers, 3 days later, they took over the whole of the country.
Haiti was less fortunate. Although its slaves were freed before most other islands, and it was declared an independent republic over 200 years ago, military coups and violent oppression have dogged Haiti's history right up to the present day.
Behind me is its capital, Port-au-Prince, and it is the oldest black republic in the world. But it's got a checkered history of violence and revolution, and the worst dictator being Papa Doc and his son Baby Doc, helped by their evil militia, the Tong Tong Macoute.
95% of the country are pure African. The rest are Arabs and mulattoes, descendants of French masters and African slaves. The language is Creole.
Haiti, in fact, is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. There is welfare, but it's held by only 150 elite families. And with a population of 7 million, that ain't good.
While many islands live up to the Caribbean reputation for relaxed, easy living, the gulf separating rich and poor across the Caribbean has been a source of constant conflict. One of the most recent battles took place on the beautiful spice island of Grenada, resulting in a U.S. invasion. In 1979, the People's Revolutionary Government seized control of Grenada in a coup led by a Grenadian lawyer called Maurice Bishop. With popular support and assistance from Cuba, Bishop began to reform the country. But in 1983, Grenada burst onto the world scene when Bishop and some of his followers were brutally executed by government hardliners. The country collapsed into violent upheaval until U.S. and Caribbean forces intervened to restore order. These Cuban planes on Pearl's airfield stand as a ghostly reminder of those days, days that no one on the island can easily forget. What was the reason for the revolution?
Dictatorship was right there, police brutality, people got shot, people was beaten. Young women of our country was sexually harassed, sex exploitation was on a rampage. And that's the reason why Maurice Bishop and them decide that they will take this country forward for the sake of the Grenadian people.
When Maurice Bishop and his followers were taken into the courtyard and executed, were you there? Did you see that? And then when the Americans came in, was that a big deal for the Grenadians?
When the American people came, they did restore peace and order in the country.
And it's funny, because after that, Grenada was the place that everybody knew about.
Yes, the whole world knew about Grenada.
Yeah.
Beautiful Spice Isle, Grenada. Yeah.
Despite centuries of turmoil, the vast majority of the people of the Caribbean are the most peaceful, life-loving, cosmopolitan, and open you are ever likely to meet. Getting around the islands is a challenging, uncomfortable, but fun experience. And the most common way to get around and to meet people is on one of the ubiquitous minibuses or maxi taxis. Basically, this is how you get around the islands. There's all these minibuses, they all have different names, they all go to different places, and they don't cost very much. Sacrifice. No, I don't think I'll be taking that bus. What's the name of your bus?
My Lover.
My Lover, okay.
Take a seat.
All right, great, thanks. So, we're all packed, ready to go. Hi. What is he doing when he knocks on the, that's like stop now?
Stop.
So it's the bus stops anywhere people want it to stop?
No, he's got bus stops.
Oh, okay. Perhaps surprisingly, Cuba's buses are not to be relied upon. So, either you can rent one of its beautiful pre-Castro American cars, or you catch a train on the only railway network in the Caribbean.
The railways here are less crowded than the buses, and And as a tourist, you have to pay for a ticket in hard currency, but the prices are low. Carriages might be old and worn, but they're comfortable and there's always someone to talk to.
Don't encourage me, alright? Don't sit here in silence. Don't encourage me.
But if the train isn't going your way, do like the Cubans do and hitch a lift.
Hola. Pinas del Rio? Pinas del Rio. Vale.
Hitching is okay on most islands, but it's not something you want to do in Haiti. But its public transport is insane. Introducing the tuk-tuk.
Basically, if you want to go anywhere, just allow loads of time because you're never sure what the roads are going to do. There's huge traffic jams, there's no traffic lights that work.
Jamaican buses aren't great either, but the alternatives are something to behold.
Are you going to Treasure Beach?
Yeah, man.
Right.
This is a typical rural Jamaican taxi, and believe it or not, they're a good alternative to local buses.
The public transport in Jamaica can sometimes be a bit unreliable. So what I thought I'd do is hire myself a flash motor like this, just for the day. Jeez. Only passed my test about 2 weeks ago and I don't feel too safe at all.
Or if you really want to risk your neck.
Spoke to you on the phone about hiring a bike.
We have a 250 there, and I think that should take you.
Yeah.
It's reliable as can be.
As can be, yeah. But does it run smoothly?
Smooth, you're not going to have no problem with it.
Yeah, it looks a bit battered up and a bit rusty there, is that?
Well, it was because of, like, people who rented it and drop it and stuff like that, you know, so.
Oh. You hear that? Ooh, that's power.
Renting motorbikes is cheap, but not all companies supply helmets, and you have to watch out for terrible roads and even more terrible drivers.
Well, the bike could be in better condition. The back brake is virtually non-existent, and the speedo don't work. Just minor details. You know I told you about the dodgy brake on the back of the bike? Look at that. Oh.
Hopping from island to island is another matter altogether. Most have regular passenger ferry services, many have regular flights, but what better way than to hitch a ride on a fishing boat? So long as your stomach can take it.
The truth is, in the Caribbean, it is very hard to find really budget accommodations, even in a place like Carriacou, which is so remote. This place costs $50 a night, but for that I get my 4-poster bed, a mattress that is, in a word, firm. This is the living room, some exquisite artwork, tranquility, my mantra. And last but not least, my very own balcony. So it might be a 1-star accommodation, but who cares when you got a view like that?
Many of the former plantation houses in the Caribbean are now guest houses, serving great food and comfortable rooms. But don't expect a bargain. Bed and breakfast can often cost over $300 per night. If you stay away from the obvious resorts, you can find some fascinating places. Ian took a quick tour of some of the more unusual resting places in Haiti and Cuba, as well as the Castle Cave Hotel in Jamaica.
This place is mad. It's like an old film set from Ivanhoe or something. But the view is the best. And it's just got everything you want. Thought I'd treat myself to the most famous hotel in Haiti, the Olofsen, immortalised in the Graham Greene novel, The Comedians. Oh. Oh. It's a brilliant hotel. It's got a wicked veranda. That's why it attracts all the big stars. Mick Jagger, Marlon Brando, Noel Coward. They've even named the rooms after him. So... Andy Kershaw. Where's mine? This resort here was built by Celia Sanchez. She was Fidel's sort of secretary come lover. She was the only woman who was up in the mountains with him in the revolution. Well into nature, that's why this is here. Trouble is, the rest of Cuba weren't quite with her on that one, so now it's deserted. These huts used to be up in the trees, but it got too dangerous, so they put them on stilts. Thing is, anyone can come and stay here for free, but it's a bit like squatting. There's no amenities, you've got no running water, no electricity, no bed. So surprisingly, I'm all here on my own. And it's early night.
The Caribbean is a treasure trove of tropical fruits, incredible seafood, with a cooking culture that draws on every part of the world. Everywhere there are markets selling the local produce, and from street food to sophisticated restaurants, you are guaranteed a culinary adventure. Puerto Rico combines the flavors of Spain and the heritage of the Carib Indians, whose word barbacoa is what we now know as barbecue. Have a great night out on marinated pork in a lechonera, or try the island's coffee, which has earned it wealth and a great reputation. Trinidad's huge East Indian population has influenced the whole region, inspiring a taste for spicy food, ranging from the complex flavors of a good curry to the hearty and cheap snack known as a roti.
Okay, let's see, here it goes. That was so good. Basically, it's a curry burrito. Oh, I love this stuff.
Guadeloupe offers a classic hybrid of tropical exotica with French sophistication. The patisseries match the best in Paris, but with tropical ingredients, and the Afro-Franco-Caribbean blend known as Creole food is spicy but delicious. The rum here is superb as well, especially mixed with Caribbean liqueurs, and is, for many, the best thing to have come out of the sugar plantations. But what most people love across the Caribbean is the street food and roadside cafes.
Real good jerk chicken. You're gonna love this type of chicken. Plus when the special sauce get into it, you're gonna love it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put on my special sauce and everything now. I'm gonna.
Is there a special shape you've got before it goes on? Is there, Garlic? Ooh, yeah.
Oh.
That's good jerk chicken.
Yes, man.
Fried chicken, fish, sandwich, sauce. I wonder what sauce is. What are you eating?
Sauce.
Sauce. That's what I just ordered.
It's a good food.
Is it good?
Sure.
Yeah?
The sauce is good for men. Make them go all night long. Go home to your wife or maybe the girlfriend. She will say, whoa.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So women cook it up for their husbands?
Sure.
When they need a little extra lovin'?
You can see that.
Oh, this just looks like a very hearty soup. Full of vegetables, cow skin, and pig's feet. It's got lots of vegetables. It has a wonderful nutmeggy, clovey broth. It's spiced really nicely. Whoa.
Hi there. What have you got to eat there?
Oh, today we have curry goat, fried chicken, stewed beef.
Yeah, can I have a curry goat?
Curry
Go on.
goat. Make sure you suck the bones, you know, the juice.
Suck the bones?
Yeah.
Just for you, I'm going to suck the bones. Oh, no. Not bad at all. That's good, that. Yeah.
I must have sucked the bones, you know.
I was.
Okay.
80% of Jamaica's population are Christian, the legacy of centuries of European rule and influence.
Through the Lord Jesus Christ, He will not allow the enemy to destroy you. Something beautiful, something good. Yes, sir. Somebody say yes. Emmanuel, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, brightest morning star. Are you hearing me? Hallelujah! Hallelujah!
Across the islands, Christianity is worshipped with enthusiasm. But at its heart is something much more African, especially in the Dominican Republic and Haiti.
There's a saying in Haiti that 80% Haitians are Catholic, but 100% are voodoo. And that's the main image you get of Haiti. It's voodoo, zombies, plastic effigies with pins in them, but in fact it's a religion. And here in Souvenos, the most sacred place in the country, it's practiced in its purest form.
Haitian voodoo is a mixture of Catholicism and different religions and beliefs from West Africa. It is an essential part of Haitian life.
Souvenos is a great mystic temple of voodoo in Haiti, established during the time of slavery.
As part of the ceremony, animals are sacrificed and worshippers are smeared in their blood.
Across the border in the Dominican Republic, Megan shared an intimate ritual blending Christianity and voodoo.
Bombonnet is the chief priest of this small village near Santo Domingo. He's a troubleshooter who cures physical and emotional illnesses with the help of the spirits and especially a little rum.
In English.
What was that? Was that a bullet? Bombonnet gives me a holy candle and a perfumed picture of Saint Clair to hold, while he calls on the spirits to give me strength.
It's really happening.
Yamenisu. Avoir pensé que pour ça dit qu'on ne sait pas aller. Wa, Micho. Wala Zaki wa Edewa.
Bombonnet makes offerings of rum to call them, and then takes the potion and puts it over my arms and legs. Strong now.
Si.
Healthy.
Si.
Many other things, I think. Merci beaucoup.
But to really experience the biggest and best Caribbean ritual of all, come to Trinidad in February and be part of Carnival.
It's Carnival Tuesday, what the Trinidadians call the best show on earth. It's time for some liming and whining and chipping.
Trinidad Carnival is called the mother of all carnivals and was introduced by French Catholic plantation owners who held masquerade balls to celebrate the last 2 days before Lent. But when slavery was abolished in 1834, this masquerade ball took to the streets with unbridled frenzy. The festivities escalate into the night until suddenly, at the stroke of midnight, everything stops with a bang. If you want to avoid the crowds, then why not head to some of the smaller, quieter islands? St. Kitts is part of the Leeward Islands, the volcanic peaks first seen downwind of ships sailing in from Europe. It's a remote spot, popular with people seeking true isolation and retaining an incredibly British atmosphere. Built on the profits of sugar plantations, it escapes the heavy tourist industry and high crime rates of many of its Caribbean neighbors. Dominica is by no means the largest or the most visited, but for the early European explorers, it was the first port of call in the Caribbean and is to this day a jungle paradise. Christopher Columbus came across Dominica on his first voyage to the New World. It was a Sunday, so he named the island Dominica, which means Sunday in Latin. After Christopher Columbus came back from his second voyage to the New World, the King and Queen of Spain asked him to describe the island of Dominica. And the story goes that Christopher Columbus took a piece of paper, crumpled it up, threw it on the table and said, "That is Dominica." What Columbus was referring to, of course, are the sharp mountainous folds that cover the island's surface. Just a few miles from Trinidad, at the southern end of the Antilles, is Tobago, and its capital, Scarborough. It's a beautiful, peaceful island, thought to have influenced Daniel Defoe to write Robinson Crusoe. But these days, it's a lot livelier, and a great place to get involved in local events. Technically just outside the Caribbean, the breezy Turks and Caicos Islands are a place to escape and maybe try an unusual style of fishing.
Worldwide, the conch, an important source of protein for the islanders, is an endangered species. So the industry here is subject to international quotas, but they are still abundant in the shallow waters off South Caicos Island, where fishermen like Papa and Big Boy free dive daily for their catch. Only 600,000 pounds of conch meat is allowed to be exported, along with 50,000 shells sold through tourism. What do you use this for? You eat the meat, and then do you sell the shells to someone?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I have to knock it in, do it like this.
That's what it looks like. Oh, he's huge living in there.
Then just slap it. Then you do it like this. Wash it, soak it, and you eat it.
Oh, it's really good. It's really, really sweet. Wow, it's really delicious.
Yeah. That's why I become fisher. Old conch is sweeter than the fresh conch. You wash and boil and put them in peas and rice. Don't you know the old conch will make it taste so nice?
You don't have to eat the wildlife, of course, and the Caribbean has some amazing experiences for animal lovers. The diving is exceptional across much of the Caribbean, but the wrecks, reefs, and sea life are especially fantastic around Dominica, the Turks and Caicos, and the Cayman Islands. It's not cheap, but good diving companies are plentiful. Some of the richest sea life can also be found off of St. Croix, Saba, Virgin Gorda, and Bonaire. If you're in need of a little stress therapy, Cuba offers a very special kind of treatment. Until recently, this was just a tourist attraction, until Fidel Castro came here and insisted it be put to better use.
This is a dolphin pool just outside Hogan. It's a tourist attraction, but also they're setting it up as a therapy centre where sick kids can come and splash around with the dolphins, feel the vibe. And I'm certainly feeling it. What you got? This one doesn't like it much.
Dolphins are one of nature's most caring animals, and they quickly form a bond between themselves and humans. Well, at least they do in most cases.
But Cuba also has some water dwellers that you wouldn't want to swim with.
Have you seen one then?
Yeah, I'm looking at one.
Where?
Right down in that corner. See him down there?
Shall I try put my leg in the water, see if he comes?
He's okay.
Take my hand off, huh?
No, he won't do that. You don't taste as good as chicken does.
For a few months each year, on a number of the islands, a wildlife event takes place that is simply unmissable. But to do this, you need a guide and a great deal of patience.
So how many turtles now?
We have 3.
3? I had no idea that they were going to be so big.
Weighing up to half a ton and stretching close to 8 feet in length, the leatherback is the largest turtle in the sea. It's also one of the oldest species on the planet. It's been here since the time of the dinosaurs. No wonder the leatherback turtle is nicknamed the Ancient Mariner.
Yeah, right now she's laying her egg.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh.
And she's in a trance right now, so you could touch her.
Her back is so smooth, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, can I go touch her head even?
Yes, you
Really?
can touch, yeah.
This is the most incredible experience, being face to face with a dinosaur. She has absolutely no idea that I'm here. She is in a trance.
After laying between 80 and 100 eggs, the leatherback takes painstaking care to cover them up and camouflage the area before heading back to the sea. She may do this as much as 8 times in a season. Most visitors to the Caribbean never leave the coast, but inland, away from the towns and plantations, many of the islands offer incredible landscape, dense jungle, and some extraordinary surprises. If you're looking for sunshine and beaches, then Dominica is not for you. With the largest oceanic rainforest in the Caribbean, parts of which have never been explored, this island is best experienced on foot. Dominica takes its eco-awareness very seriously and charges a nominal fee to enter its protected nature reserves. It's well worth it. The money is used to preserve the huge areas of uninhabited land so rare in the Caribbean.
These are all banana trees?
Yeah, it used to be a plantation, but they're all overgrown now. And here we also have begonia.
Oh, we have those, I think.
Yeah, those things. But I don't think that you eat your own, right?
No, we don't.
You want to try it?
Yeah.
Tastes like a green apple.
Like a very sour apple.
And it's also used on the island as a cold medicine.
I can hear it.
Okay, we should be
I
there.
can hear the waterfall.
It should be there right around the bend.
Yeah?
Yep.
Wow!
There's our Midland Falls.
Oh, wow,
Justin.
that's beautiful. Oh, look at that.
On the larger islands, you could get lost for days. Megan joined a group of muleteers to trek into the high pine forest around the Dominican Republic mountain of Pico Duarte.
It was a muleteer who first climbed Pico Duarte in 1944. There are now 5 different trails to the summit. I'm taking the gentlest one on this 30-mile round trip.
Okay. Come on. Manchita. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think this trail ever ends. Holding your body like this makes muscles sore that you didn't even know you had very quickly.
Oh, oh.
Por ahí María se va, porque la me perseguí. Por ahí María se va, cásame con ella. Por ahí María se va, me matan a
Ay, ay, ay! Oh my God! I don't think I have ever been in this much pain. But I believe in
Oh, what a beautiful day.
This is Kelvin. I just met him. He's from Santiago, and he too is headed to the top of Pico Duarte with his dog Bandito, of course. The Caribbean's highest mountain was named after Juan Pablo Duarte, who gained independence for there to make a pilgrimage to the top. This is Duarte.
Yes, big man.
The man who founded Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
That is great, and he deserves this most inspirational place. I love it up here.
It's really beautiful. That's why I come 4 times.
Up here, I keep thinking of all the visitors who've come to the Dominican Republic just to go to the beaches, which is really a wonderful experience, but this has given it so much more depth. This is above 10,000 feet, the highest place in the Caribbean.
Jamaica also offers breathtaking mountain views, so if you really want to appreciate just how beautiful the Caribbean islands are, try climbing the Blue Mountains in time for the sunrise.
How high is it?
Well, this is just under 8,000 feet.
Just under 8,000 feet?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the Land Rover only goes halfway up.
Yeah.
So we've got a 3-hour walk.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. I used to.
Yeah, you're used to it, mate.
Yeah.
I was knackered putting my boots on. Well, Robert, it better be worth it after that long slog.
Yeah.
Oh, I am so knackered. That last bit was the worst. Oh. Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. That's worth it. That's worth it. Yeah. God. Can't believe that. Where's Cuba?
Cuba is over there, under the cloud. If it was clear, you would see Cuba.
I could see it from here. Over there, that's where Hoxton Market is, where my flat is in London.
Yeah.
See, between those clouds there.
Yeah.
Long way.
islands of the Caribbean that I've seen are much more incredible than anything I ever expected. The cultural mix, the music, the food. But I forgot to do the one thing that people come here to do. Chill out. Or as the Caribbeans say, live.
Thank you.